SorareData Office Hours. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined as always by Maxime Hagenbourger, who you can find as maximehg on Sorare. Maxime, we had a bunch of things to talk about, and there was a comment in the chat here. Thank you to everybody for joining us and for chatting already. And you were like, we need to start with this.
Yes.
Let's start with it.
Because I hate bad faith comments. So I want to start with that.
Okay.
So yeah, and it will be very interesting because I made some acquisitions this week. So first, I stopped not negotiating with terrorists, and I gave up. And I bought Gaëtan Poussin from Bordeaux at a completely unreasonable price of 0.47, which is like half the price of the last sale, or I don't know, maybe a third of the price of the last sale, which was completely crazy. And I was like on my computer Saturday, where the market is actually like so slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's just bid on that and see where it goes. And I was like, no way I get this card. And no one overbid me. And so I won. So crazy stuff. Obviously, Poussin is a Ligue 2 goalkeeper, and I hope it stays that way, because if he goes to Ligue 1, he will be crushed next year.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a fun acquisition. And the main acquisition was obviously the Kvaratskhelia Super Rare, which is a funny story because I didn't buy it. Fields bought it for me because I was blocked by the Zima Blue, because earlier in the week, I've made some really fair offers that I've published on my Twitter feed if you want to check it out. It's like I wanted Coman and Scovelsen's for 1.4 ETH, which was pretty fair. I thought it was fair, and Zima was open to offers, so I was like, okay, let's try to do that. And then he declined and counter at 1.6 or something. And I said, okay, I can add the leaked rare to actually make it for the ETH I didn't have at the time. And he blocked me. And so he had so many interesting cards I wanted to buy. So I asked my good friend Phil to actually negotiate for me. So first I sent him, and you can check that on my transactions page on SorareData. I sent him 2.1 ETH to acquire Kim Min-jae Super Rare. But negotiations fell through, and so Phil sent me back my money. And then we wanted to do a massive deal with Kvaratskhelia. And so Siri is not happy. So, and yeah, I sent Phil 3.8 ETH on the platform. So Phil's negotiated for me, and he got the card for 3.6 ETH. And so that's why I sent 3.8 ETH to Phil, and he sent me back 0.2 and the card. Really, I'm not sure it's against terms of services, but like it's so painful if you want to acquire a card that you can't because the guy that actually owns the card doesn't want to negotiate with you anymore. So that's a bit frustrating. But yeah, that's it. I'm a proud owner of Kvaratskhelia.
I do think that. So like, he blocked you, and it didn't stop you from getting the card, but clearly made it more difficult. And so I actually think that's more on, was it Zima who was the one who sold it, or was it?
No, but like I like in any case, I don't think it breaches like fairness issues or whatever, because I paid for the card. I just use an intermediary to actually do that, which is obviously you have to trust the guy you're doing that with, because I could have done it with another account. I could have funded the account, tried to negotiate with it, but I felt like it was more multi-accounting than anything else, so I didn't want to do that. So I asked Phil to do that. I don't know. I don't feel like it's like, anyway, everything is on the transactions page, and I don't feel I'm hiding anything with that. But yeah, I mean, Zima could have like sold me the card like if he didn't block me. I had to use Fields. I could have lost 3.8 ETH in the in the business because Fields could have just run away with the money. So that was me taking a bit of a risk, but no. But pretty happy because that's the first time in, I don't know, 2 years I'm adding actually ETH to my portfolio or to my wallet, because like I didn't have the ETH to actually do that. So yeah, reinvesting in Sorare right now. I don't think I will reinvest more money right now, but yeah, I felt like Vara is it's such an enjoyable card to actually own, and such a good player to watch, and getting. I mean, that's the most valuable card in my gallery right now. So, I mean, I'm super happy.
The blue on blue
He
is a
looks
nice looking
badass.
card. I just like the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, it's a 2022 card. So yeah.
I also found it funny that it came from here. Like the original was a trade equals ban, and then you ended up getting banned for trying to get this one, and then eventually. But it is,
and
I mean, anyone who sees this, like obviously there were people who noticed it because your transaction with Phil's, the first one, like we don't have that on the site, so that's why I think it brought some questions.
Oh no, we do.
We can show your 3.8.
Yeah, you can go. We have all the transactions, but people that tweeted about it just decided not to capture every transaction that was made. So you see the first transaction is 3 days ago, so 7:49 p.m. So just below.
Gotcha.
So we are using 2 limited cards, because if you don't put cards, well, it does dot on the price chart, and we don't want to do that. And that's the only way you can actually transfer ETH on the platform. I could have like withdraw like the ETH, sent to Fields, and then deposit and stuff like that. But I prefer to do it to do everything on the platform. And so Fields buys the cards from Zima Blue, and then we trade back the limited. He sent me the 0.2 remaining and the Kvaratskhelia card.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, not the ideal way to actually do that, because you're not like, he was negotiating on my behalf. I wasn't doing anything. I was like, do what you can do, and it's.
And how do you feel about this one? Are you going to start playing Cap 240?
Let me address what it's being said. And it says, it's just that Maxime makes a decision on another account to purchase equals collusion. But yeah, I guess I don't know why it's collusion, but why not? But what's actually wrong with like another account buying another card? Like it's like, just tell me what's wrong, and maybe next time I won't do that. But I'm not sure I've breached terms of services, and I'm not sure I've like, at the end of the day, Fizz was just an intermediary. So about Poussin, I mean, just look at the price graph, right?
I told you after I saw this that I almost bought it myself. Like I saw that card and I was like, I don't think, because I think there was another one that was available on the market. And I mean, these prices were obviously never going to hit, but I did look at this one, and then it was funny to see it sold to you.
Yeah. So last time I said, I don't want to invest 2,000 euros on something, right?
Yeah.
And like,
you didn't.
How much? 780, 100 euros. And I was like, I can play All-Star, I can play U23 for the rest of the season, I can play second division Super Rare if I even want to. That can be also a spot in All-Star Rare Pro, or in very good matchups for Poussin, for example. Because I don't have like strong Super Rare. I didn't have Kvaratskhelia at that time. So that was a bit different. And so, yeah, I felt like it was like create diversity, and also the probability that that Poussin moves to actually Ligue 1 makes it a Champion Europe card, also an interesting Champion Europe super rare card. Yeah.
It's a fun set. Fun set.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fun. Only deception was to Zima, as he didn't realize where card would end up on sold to Fields. Yes, that's actually true, but Fields has every right to buy it and sell it to me afterwards. So.
Right.
But I think Zima was more interested in getting the money wherever it came from than actually. I don't think like he didn't want me to get the card. I think he wanted the money since he was selling the old guy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the important thing. It's not like he didn't block you because it was you. He blocked you because he.
But maybe it is.
Maybe he did. You're right. I guess he could.
No, but that's a fair and valid point. If Zima doesn't want the doesn't like, if he contacts me and say I don't want you to have the card, I send it back. Yeah, no worries about that. But like, yeah.
Well, I think once we make a card available to sell and we decide to sell it, you have no authority to decide where that card ends up.
No, and what happens at the end is that Fields made several offers for that card, like at 3.8 or something, and Zima just like did weird thing and just like rejected, and then proceeded to list actually Kvara for 3.6, and then Fields bought it. So actually, I could have bought it myself, but I didn't have the money at the time. So he bought
it. Right, because Phil's had it.
No, but again, I'm open for criticism and stuff like that. I wasn't really comfortable with the thing because, like, it's not your own money you're sending to someone, and that's not a good like buying experience. But like, I don't want to. I don't have anything to hide, basically. So if someone from Sorare tells me that I breach terms of services or stuff like that, I would accept it and just say, okay, give me my ETH back and I send the card back. There's no problem about that.
I actually think Zima would have more of a problem with that happening than you sending the card back. Like, he wants the ETH. I can't speak for him, but still.
Yeah. Jacqueline says, we still love Maxime and thank you. And I love you guys too. But let's agree not to do this kind of stuff, especially as a public figure. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that, obviously. But again, I didn't feel like I had any trouble explaining it publicly. And everything is available. And if someone wants to... the only frustrating thing is that was the first time I was blocked by anyone. And I felt so humiliated when I was trying to send an offer and it just says, you've been blocked by this manager. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, I mean, just say no, but don't block me. And so, yeah, that was like pretty hurtful. And I didn't know how to really reach out to him. But anyway, like, again, if anyone complains about it, let me know. And if it's against terms of services, or if Zima wants his card back, yeah, no problem. I just send him back. I don't want any trouble, but I think he doesn't want any Sorare card in his portfolio right now.
All I'm thinking about is all that lost XP. Just getting halved.
Yeah, but time. I mean, you have to do what you have to do, right? Hey, I'm going to put some level ups on that. I mean, it's coming. It says it's coming, so I'm going to put some level ups on that.
I just wish they didn't do that. I really didn't. Like, I get it, but I also really don't like it. The one thing I noticed that I mentioned to somebody yesterday is I feel like nobody counter offers anymore. Everybody just wants to reject and move on. That's maybe my offers have been so bad lately that it's not even worth
No,
offering.
but really, I think like I felt a bit like I was lowballing him or them. Like it was lowball offers, right? Like I mean, if you send the same offers like 2 months ago, you're getting automatically blocked, right? And I mean, people that are trying to exit the platform are getting these kind of offers because, like, I mean, you're trying to get out as fast as you can, then you got to accept the offers that come your way, right? So you're trying. I mean, that's trying to get the better of the situation, right? And I feel like there's no way in hell that I would get this card any day, and this day has arrived, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I mean, yeah, if you want, you have to try and send offers that are a bit challenging and see what you can get.
I'm looking here.
Zima's definition of lowballer is an offer he'll accept in 7 days. And that's why I was so frustrated, because the offers I sent him that day were actually accepted. Like he sold Kim Min-jae for 1.6 and I was like sending, I think, 1.8 or something. And I was like,
that's a great card too.
And Delict is actually, and when I included Delict in the trade, I was like, okay, Delict is I mean, it's a good card and you should probably get something out of this pretty quickly. It was a 3.35 floor at that time. So I was like, okay, you're not maybe looking for more Sorare cards, but come on, at least at least try to not block me. I hate it. I mean, blocking is the worst experience ever when you're blocked, and it never happened to me before, and I feel like so like hopeless and clueless. I'm like, and that's why we need a chat. You know, not like a chat I don't think I think we need a chat, and we have been in need of one for a long time. But like something like,
with
like pre-prepared messages, like saying, "This one is not good, mate. Next one, I'm blocking you." That's a fair warning. Like at least you've been warned. You're like, okay, if you don't do better, I'm probably going to block you and stuff like that. So it can stay civil, and you don't have to face like people like just like spitting on each other because they are lowballing people. So I think it's not very difficult to do.
I was once blocked by Pavel, and it was like one of the lowest points of my entire Sorare experience, because I mean, not only the blocking part, but it was part of my routine and an enjoyment of the platform was trying to get absurd deals done with Pavel. And I got blocked, and it was like, it's like they took away, it's as if they were like, you can't enter rare competitions anymore. This part of the game that you like, it's gone. And thankfully, somehow I think he unblocked. There was at some point where you could unblock people, and I think he unblocked everyone, and I went back to my shenanigans. But that was a very sad.
No, he didn't. It was Sorare that like introduced something, like another interface or stuff like that, and that unblocked everyone.
That unblocked everyone. Okay.
I think it's
you're right.
Some people will fact check me, but I think if I recall,
was it when we could follow everyone?
Correctly.
I don't think that's what it was.
No, I don't remember when, but I think at one point in time they like unbanned everyone.
Yeah,
because
I think
they
you're right.
changed the way you could block people.
Yeah, but I've never blocked
Which
someone.
Is kind of cool.
Trading is like one of my, or at least attempting to trade is like a really fun part of the game if you're somebody who does it a lot.
Yeah.
I will say that my experience with everyone who puts that they trade in their name don't really mean it. They don't really want to trade.
open to trade, but like you're getting wrecked, but I'm open to it.
Yes, I'm open to you paying 200% as long as I win. Yeah. That's too many characters, so I just say open to trade.
To be honest, I've accepted trades before, like, but it's crazy because when you're sent a trade and you're like considering it, you're like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
And sometimes on our Slack, on company Slack, I'm like sending the offer and like, what am I missing here? Why do I think this trade is actually good? And I'm like, I don't want to accept it because I think it's fair. And because I think it's fair, I think I'm getting wrecked there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I traded like Immobile for Haller last time, and Clément told me, Clément Sovita, and he said just ask 0.03 ETH in the offer, and that will sell, and that actually did.
Mm-hmm. Was that the Immobile?
Yeah, Immobile against Haller.
Yeah, my other favorite are getting trade requests from people who have no trades or ETH only in their name. Like they come to you with a card trade, but they don't actually want trades either. So I don't know.
No, but that's why I think like there's so much more that can be done on the market. Like you could use tags for card, like saying like this card is unsellable, I don't want to sell it and stuff like that, or this card could be like sold at the right price or stuff like that. You know, put tags on card, and that would increase, I think, like visibility for cards and also liquidity. And that's something that people ask us to do, and I know that Vitaly, our chief football officer, also is a strong defender of this on SorareData. But I feel like I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm sold on the utility, but I'm not sold on the fact that this should be us doing that.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to bring up, probably on this show, that there are things that we think would improve, but like it would improve the experience, but there are some things that we just think are better done on Sorare's actual site than ours, and so that is one of them.
On this, it's really like I think like for too long I've been focused on delivering stuff that was beneficial to the whole ecosystem and not necessarily to SorareData as a company and as a product. And I feel like obviously like Sorare has done some catch up on a lot of things that we were doing, and I was like, I don't want to spend any time that we have, and time is valuable in the company, on stuff that we feel we are going to be cut further down the road. Like I don't want to do something if Sorare is doing the feature in 6 months, and I think they don't want us to do something that they are going to do also, because I think that we have to be not competitive but like complementary. So so I mean, yeah, that's why we are focusing on like a lineup builder right now, which is obviously a great tool for lineup building and decision making, and obviously stuff around the valuations, the market, etc. Any kind of resources you're used to find on SorareData. But talking about the lineup builder, Andrew, we are very close to the release of the MLB lineup builder, and I'm not even joking.
I think did we talk about it last week?
Pretty serious.
Yeah.
I think I said we were going to release it for today. I think I'm not sure yet because I have to take employees to the restaurant after the stream, and then I'm playing paddle. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to release it, but I think I will. At 2 a.m. tonight, I'm be like, okay, let's just release it. And so what's working right now is pretty much suggestions and like, you know, building a lineup. But that's pretty fun. I'm pretty excited for the return of MLB. And as the season progresses, and especially early in the season, we're going to include more and more stuff on the MLB side of things.
we obviously didn't have the MLB lineup builder last season, and
Yes.
I went to put my lineups in on Sorare today, and I was like thinking to myself how much more information I wanted, and I'm just so used to building my football and basketball lineups on SorareData, and so I just I was like putting it in. I was like, I felt completely blind, and I was just putting players in. So I think I need it as much as anyone else. I'll put it that way.
Maybe I can show like to people what we have. Let me share my screen. It wasn't planned, but we like doing things that are not planned. Partager, which is share in English. Okay, so do you see my screen, Andrew?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay. So what we do have today, we plan on bringing some more in the future, but basic. First, it does look good. I mean, I thought it was looking good on the mockups, and I was like, am I going to be able to actually make it look good? And that looks pretty good. Still stuff to be changed, but anyway. So obviously, you select players if you want to, like that. You see the total projected points. Wow, I don't know why Teoscar Hernandez has a so big projection for game 2, but whatever. So nothing really different from what you guys know with the NBA lineup builder. And obviously now you click on suggest a lineup and it does your lineups. So basically you can go to the platform and just like, yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty confident it's one of the best lineups. I'm not sure it's the actual best lineup, especially when you have Otani in. But I mean, I'll let you choose where you decide to put Otani in, because Otani is a great pitcher, Otani is a great hitter, but sometimes it's better to have him as a starting pitcher if your roster isn't that good for starting pitchers, and sometimes it's just better to put him in extra hitter, or I don't know. So, but pretty much that would be the experience. You click on a button and says that's the best lineup. We probably won't have like the ability to like, you know, have different options, like clicking on the card, like discarding the card and getting another option at launch, because it's more work than previously thought. But we're going to introduce that, and yeah, you'd be able to complete your lineup if you want to pick a player and build a lineup around that player. You'll be able to at launch. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And so yeah, looking forward to see people trying our builder, and why not finding bugs and stuff like that, because obviously at first there are going to be bugs. But yeah, I mean, at least it gives you some context on whether your players are scheduled to play and how they are scheduled to perform. And then we plan on bringing, like, you know, more stuff around, like whether is the game at risk. For example, if one game is at risk, we're probably going to exclude that game from projections and stuff like that, or maybe not exclude it, but, like, you know, reducing the importance of that game. So yeah. So when is the estimate rollout date for this feature? I mean, tonight.
There was a question about the concept players, whether we're going to.
Yeah, sure. So concept players are definitely something that we will do, and probably even better than NBA. And that's something we want to do for football also, because like, we want to be able to, like, concept players for football is way more difficult because you have so many options you can choose from, and it's not very easy to actually do that fast. But we plan on, like, introducing, like, for example, if you have like 5 players and only one has a F or bad pick score, for example, we would propose you with an alternative, and you could check, like, on the market if he's available. Well, he would be available on the market, obviously, but we would propose like the best option to replace it. And yes, and so yeah, basically like MLB, same thing, the ability to like have concept players. But we wanted to have something ready for the start of the season, at least one-click lineups, and then we'll see how the MLB product also evolves, because we are pretty transparent on that. That also drives how we allocate time on features. So, for example, if they introduce a monetary reward soon, that probably change how we actually see the baseball product today.
Yeah, that'll be fun news. Jump shoot. Tonight was tonight for Maxime, which is like this evening for me, which is today.
Yeah, I think around like
the idea was
so
before
2 a.m.
opening day.
2 a.m. Paris time, so 2 a.m. Europe time, and so I think like if you want to do your lineups tomorrow before opening day, you will be able to. That's my promise to you guys. When gallery rankings open manager stats again, C-suite picks transparency. I mean, the whole problem with the manager stats page is that one Sunday night, I was comfortably sitting on my couch when I saw that my website wasn't working anymore. And so I went and see what was the what was the request that was driving my website down, and that was that page. So I mean, I just like panicked, removed it, and also the page was very ugly. We can all agree on that. So I don't like it. It's not hidden for any kind of other reasons than that. I could bring back the page as it was before if I tweak it a bit, like technically, so it doesn't bring the site down when someone requests it. But you know, I mean, just build manager watch lists. I mean, I could do that. To be honest, I could do that. I could do that pretty easily, like building a top 100 managers watch list, and people could actually check that. I could do that. I could do top 100 managers and top 1,000 managers pretty easily, so people can actually like see who are the best managers on the website.
Or someone else could do it, and they get all the popularity of creating this watch list. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. No, but I mean, doing that watch list like very easily, automatically on our side is pretty simple. I can do that tonight, to be honest. I can even do that after the stream.
There you go. No, this baseball first. That's all.
Yeah. Blue Tomatoes is asking if the page was DDoSed. I don't think it was. I just think like it was just badly coded, and when you had like not a lot of managers, that works fine, because like the data you had to load was like fine, but now you have obviously a lot of managers. So, and it was building the page every time it was asked for, and that's not something that works well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those pages that we know people liked, but it technically was obviously detrimental to us. Like we know it's one of those things that is on a list somewhere, and we just have to prioritize everything because there aren't 1,000 of us, and so it's just not at the top of the list because the MLB line.
No, but to be honest, I didn't know that page was so popular, because I never visited it. So
yeah, people like it.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't like know that. So that's why when I removed it, I was like, who cares? Can the website go down if I load Pavel transaction history? So, you know, our developers love Pavel because it's always the edge case. And so now I think you can, if you wait some 10 seconds, I think you can get pretty much all the information you need about Pavel. but it doesn't break down the website anymore if you look at Pavel's page.
In like a whole bunch of places too, like the trade builder loads, and not that I'm making trades with Pavel much, but.
Is there any plans to be able to overlay 2 player scores on the same graph? Yes, there are plans to like bring a player comparison tool that is a bit advanced. We had mockups for that. I mean, that's something we plan to do. But
it exists already for teammates if you use the stacks button. Here, I'll just pull it up because that'll be easier to show you guys. Apologies.
Or if you use
yeah. So if you just go to any player page and you hit stacks, and then you can see how other players perform in the same games, and you can add a whole bunch of different ones. So.
And you have stats on the whole stack, and is it worth having a Sporting Portugal stack?
Yep.
And also, you could use also the concept builder, I guess, for that. If you want to, but yeah, it's not done for comparison purposes, but we want to bring a full tool for comparison between players.
Yeah, I think we talked. I don't know if we talked about it here. I feel like we did, but the thing with the player comparison is everyone who suggests it sees the tool doing something else. And so instead of building 10 different player comparison tools, we want to build one. And so you have people like, oh, I just want to see their scores. And then someone else like, no, I want to see their prices over time, which you can see in the watch lists right now. It's like, no, I want to see these 4 players and how their SO5 scores are over the last 6 games. And there's just all this stuff. And so, like Maxime said, we have designs for some, and it's just a matter of what being able to build everything that people want into a single tool after the MLB line.
Yeah, because like, comparing two players is fine, but I think that I want to be able to compare like 4 or 5 players, right? Like, and I wasn't content with like a tool with only two players being compared. But obviously, it's way more difficult to design a tool where you can compare 2 players, but also 4 or 5 players.
Right.
So, would the survey help? I don't think so. But support at SorareData.com is always a good place to send feedback. And if you want to help on that subject, I'm sure that would help. We did a user survey back in January.
We did one once.
Yeah, about the paywall and stuff like that. That was very interesting, and we learned a lot of things about that. But I know that Erwan had some plans in the beginning of 2023 to do another one. So maybe it will come your way.
What do you think like the most popular feature would be that we don't have right now?
I guess comparison is one. That's a good question, actually. What don't we have that people need? I'm not sure that we don't have something that people need. I think that, I think I see tons of improvements in many features. Like, I know that in terms of live scoring, for example, like the live scoring pages, it didn't change like for years. Like the SO5 readers page has not moved like for years now. There has been like little tweaks, but like, and I want like to go so much further on the live scoring, and Clément in the chat knows about that. But obviously, like the button, as Jerem said, because you come on the lineup builder. We don't even show the lineup builder. You just click on a damn button and it does all your lineups, right?
And puts them into Sorare.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Also, I think like a popular domain would be like, CSV data and stuff like that. But like in terms of feature, I think like we can go so much further on most of what we already have. And like, you know, at the end of the day, it's how do we make sure that we deliver things that help most Sorare users, and how do we make sure that it brings like real value to our users. So like, and that's why I was saying at the beginning, like for most of the company's history, we were like focused on like improving the ecosystem and not improving necessarily our product. And so that's why I'm really like, that's one of the first thing I said to the team in 2023, right? Like, I don't want us spending time anymore on stuff that can be done on Sorare soon. So like, yeah, I mean, we have just
Well, that's where the chat option, or the idea to put like notes on a card, like that's not,
yeah.
I think it does help the community, but I don't think it's appropriate. Like it's not it shouldn't be coming from us. That's it. I do think there's a big difference between what people want and what people need. And people don't really know what they need yet, but they think they think of this stuff.
That's
to be honest,
the best
this one's my favorite. The calendar is my favorite possibility, but it's one of those things that once you see it, because I've seen other people do them, and you're like, oh, this is great. And then you start to use it and you're like, this is a lot of work. Like it's really helpful, but it also just like creates more work. And that's when people are like, oh, maybe I don't need this.
You know, one of the best features is the feature that when you release it, people say, I didn't even know I needed that. And that's the most enjoyable feature you can release.
Yeah, I agree. What's after the lineup builder, do we think?
So we can say that not only what's after the lineup builder, but what's at the same time than the lineup builder, right? Because the MLB lineup builder is going live so tonight or tomorrow, or depending on your time zone. So for MLB, but we have another mobile version coming up. So a new mobile version coming up this week that will include the NBA lineup builder and some other improvements slash fixes. So the NBA lineup builder is finally coming to the mobile app. So we are very happy for that, with suggestions. So you'll be able. It's pretty good, to be honest. It's pretty good. I can show you guys what it's going to look like. So let's see. So yeah, I mean, pretty much what you have for football, and you just click on the suggest button, and it just shows your suggested lineup, and you can click on the discard button at the top of the card if you don't want that card, and you can also like, you have settings that you can change as you do on the website. And if you want to continue with this lineup, you can, and you get that nice screen where you can actually share your lineup. And so yeah, I guess like a very good way to build your lineup, your NBA lineup pretty easily. That's coming this week.
I'll add, because Clement is here, that just like football, you can flip the cards.
Yeah.
Is it on this side? There we go.
And you get all the info that you need. Yeah. So
you need this for the soccer app AAC. It's in there. What do you mean?
Yeah, but not the suggestion.
Oh, the suggestion. Yeah. Sorry.
So about that, Andrew, the suggestion for football, they're coming back. They are being tested internally right now, so they're coming back for web pretty soon. I think next week. So, and for every division, and that's the main thing. Obviously, that's another opportunity for you guys to actually shout at Clement if he suggested you a lineup that is not good. So support at SorareData.com if you're unhappy. But no, yeah, I mean, Suggested lineup are coming back for football. They're coming to the mobile app in the next version, so probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And finally, for the next, so the mobile version that is coming up this week, we have a basic live scoring of the baseball teams. We don't have the full game week center yet. Again, it's explained by the fact that we allocate time based on our feelings for the product and how we see the product evolving. But we are going to do probably live game pages for the baseball games on mobile and on web, which is my next thing on my to-do list. So yeah, pretty excited for that. With live pitches and stuff like that. That's fun. You know, I've watched baseball for like, I don't know, 15 years now, and I've looked at different live games on different platforms. Obviously, the MLB website, and I never like imagined I would build myself an application and a website that would do that. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, Cap 240 suggestion will be so helpful. I mean, wait until you see actually it perform before saying that. But like, I was so surprised last time because the suggestions I had for 240 and 220 were like a bullseye, like no points left. And I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And because no, but one problem I have with Cap 220 and Cap 240 is sometimes I have like 10 points left or something, and I still feel like it's a right lineup to field, right? But it's kind of like, it doesn't feel right because like in NBA, for example, I know that if there are points still available, it's probably that I don't do things well.
Yeah. Yeah, there is something extremely satisfying with building a 240 lineup that ends right at 240.
Yeah.
But there is a big thing that comes from DFS that you end up making worse decisions just to get to 240. Like if you had one at 237 and you're like, oh, this player's 3 more, I'll just put him in. So just be careful.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so we are going back to the goalkeeper being a captain thing, because you know, suggestions don't care about what you think, and they're just like bringing you what they think is good. And sometimes the goalkeeper being a captain is good, but no one does that because you know you're never going to captain a goalkeeper, right? So that's what I would be so excited if like someone wins a division with a suggested lineup and a suggested lineup with a captain that has a goalkeeper in it. That would be my wildest dream.
It's never going to happen.
It should. It has to.
It might happen. It's probably happened already, and we just didn't. I've definitely had lineups where where my like highest score was I've won rewards where the highest scoring player was the goalkeeper. Of course, I didn't captain them.
Yeah, no
if
one
that suggested to me, I would just skip it. I'd just say Clement doesn't know.
It's so counterintuitive, right?
Yeah,
it's so counterintuitive. But most of the times, it's actually a good decision. Like if you feel like your goalkeeper. So that's what I said. Like I think last week, I don't want to pick goalkeepers anymore because they are scheduled to have a clean sheet. I want goalkeeper that are scheduled to have some work.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's way better than like goalkeepers that are in teams that are crushing the opponent and might lose their clean sheet on their own goal or stuff like that. That's the most frustrating thing. Like losing a clean sheet on their own goal, and when you have both players in your lineup, you're like. It happened once with Lille. So Jallo, he wasn't injured at that time, scored an own goal against obviously Chevalier, and I had both, but not in a stack, in different lineups, and you're like, what can you do?
I think this is actually a really great point. that Pick Score projects lower scores for goalies with 60% clean sheet than 45, generally because they likely don't have the save upside. But people get really upset about that. I will say that. They say clearly they're going to get the clean sheet. They should have a higher score,
but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's counterintuitive also. You think like, oh, he's going to get a clean sheet, so that's good. That's 60 points guaranteed. But 45% chance of clean sheet is pretty good. And if he gets a bit more work, if he has a good opponent score, like, I mean, you can get like to 75, 80. And it's not with a goalkeeper at 60 that you're going to win a division or going to get to a podium. So, yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, that's why we're doing the suggestion, right? So you don't care about that and you stop watching our stream. They're like, okay, I don't care about them anymore because I just have to click on one button and it does the lineup for me, right?
The button. We'll just put it on the homepage. Won't say anything.
The
button. I want to go back quickly to the live thing because we added something recently. Wasn't me. But we have this for football now that some people may not have noticed. But on the score, on the game page, if you scroll down, we now have live action. So you can follow along with all of this. Literally just any updates that we get from this Opta feed comes in here. And we tested this with MLB last season. It doesn't look exactly like this, but you kind of mentioned it before. But the live game experience, we're going to have this. And so our hope is that once it's here and are available in our apps, that like you're not having to use MLB.com and MLB app and NBA app and all this stuff, so that you can just get all of your live updates and you can track your lineups directly in here. But a few people have pointed this out to me, like, oh, I didn't realize this was here. So for everybody watching and for those listening, just go check it out.
And injury news also, Germ says, well, it has been here for quite a while for basketball, but it has been also added for baseball. We don't have that for football. Well, we have like injury statuses, but we don't have a dedicated provider for that. So yeah, if you go to your gallery or if you go to a player page, right, you can see the news for the player you're looking at.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, obviously everybody would love to have this for football, and there's just, when you really think of how many teams and players there are, it's just really difficult to get. You're not going to find a single source to do everything, where they're going to miss something, and it's just easier to manage with NBA and MLB, which is why we have it. But
and it would be very, very expensive.
Yeah.
That's also like so what's interesting with the RotoWire deal that we have, it's like it's for MLB and for NBA. It's for 32 or 30 teams, right? 32 is the NFL, but 30 teams. So I mean, that's manageable. But when you have to cover like 300 football clubs, like playing in so many competitions, that becomes expensive.
Yeah. And not to mention the language barrier. Obviously I used to work at RotoWire and tried to do all of this, even just for the top 5 European leagues. And even that is a bit of a task. And so when all of a sudden you have the K League and Brazil, Serie A, and all the, like, it's a lot. That's all. But yes, we'd love to have.
Yeah, and by the way, the live action is there because our head of support, Erwan, wasn't doing much. So we decided to give him the responsibility of like commenting every game. So if you see bugs, that's because Erwan is not doing his work well.
Head of fun? Is that what we call them? Head of happiness?
But Erwan is one of the. I mean, So I know in the chat you are good people, and when you send emails to support@soraredata.com, you're nice, but not everyone is nice. And I admire his calm and his patience. And Clément had like taken over support duties like last week because Erwan was on vacation, and I think like Clément realized how resilient Erwan was.
Has he ever gotten upset about anything? Like, have you ever seen him upset?
I
Usually-
mean, yeah, obviously sometimes, but like not really about support stuff. He's like,
oh, I didn't even mean that. I just meant in life.
no, he has been. Like, but yeah, he's very. Well, I mean, working at SorareData is I guess fine in terms of support, but imagine working at Sorare. and Sean like says, I would be lovely responding to a root support ticket, and I'm like, I'm someone that don't really enjoy having to talk to people that are mean or insulting, and most of the time I would just not answer or be disrespectful also, which I don't, because Erwan would be killing me. But Erwan is like, okay, I don't really care. I have to be professional. I just answer politely and stuff like that. And that's what I admire the most, because today, like, I feel like in our society, when you get like people that shout at you and are disrespectful, the only answer is being disrespectful, right? And Erwan is like, no, I'm just going to do my job professionally, and that's what I admire. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do that. I did that for like a year or so, and at some point I was just like, let the emails flow in, and I hire an intern to do that.
And we called there one.
Aaron said, my current job is manning a customer support inbox for a software company. No, like, hey, good luck with that. Fight fire with fire is a good way to burn down the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice, yeah. I remember that one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So you see, Erwan is the most important person in the company. So that's it.
Yeah. We wouldn't know anything if it wasn't for him. We would think everything's fine.
And yeah. And also he's bringing so many so many ideas. Not necessarily good, because Erwan has like his range of ideas go from like, his range goes from like awful, like worst idea you ever heard, to like best idea ever. And you have like to, you know, evaluate what he says. But sometimes he says like really great things, but sometimes like we'll get you back on that. Thanks.
Speaking of which, if anybody here, I know you come in for your English content, but if anybody here speaks French, Maxime and Erwan stream every Thursday on Twitch on the SorareData. Is he back this week?
Yes. Yes, and we stream for the. So if you speak French, you can watch and you enjoy our company. Well, when we say our company, does that also in English mean like, you know, in French, company means like being with someone.
Yeah. Yes.
But company in English also means that? Okay.
Yes.
So if you enjoy your company, you can watch our Twitch stream. We'll do what we call a recap of the week, and we'll end on the Mbappe auction. But if you enjoy also the English content, you can watch this channel with not Andrew this time, but Andrew Black and Queenie, which should be good fun also. And we'll be commenting the end of the Mbappe auction, which sounds pretty good. And yes, I can reveal something to you, I think, because I had confirmation from the man himself today. We will be hosting an interview with Sorare CEO Nicolas Julia on Monday at 1 p.m. Paris time. And so, yeah, we'll do that on our Twitch channel in French. Obviously, because Nicolas is French, and damn, Sorare is a French company. I mean, that's logic. And we'll do a rebroadcast of the interview with Andrew, so this guy, later that day. So probably, I don't know, around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I don't know, or 8 p.m. Europe time.
Yep.
And I'll do the English translation. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So for those who didn't quite get all of that, Maxime is Erwan. Oh yeah, Erwan would be there. Maxime and Erwan are going to speak with Nicola on Monday. It'll be very early in the morning for the US, and then Maxime and I will speak about it. Maxime will translate for all of us English speakers, and yeah, and we'll find out what he has to say.
Yeah, should be pretty interesting. So I know he's been so some members of the Sorare team have been recording podcasts with other members of the community, but we are really grateful for the opportunity to welcome Nicola once again. We did that like around 6 months ago, and that was a pretty fun experience, and I'm looking forward to do that again. So for French people, but also for English people, if you have any questions, this guy here, you can send questions over there, and we'll try to make a good mix of questions. Obviously, we can't ask when the Greek League is coming to Sorare, because evidently Nicola is not going to answer that. And we'll do a segment on the recap tomorrow on Twitch. If you have any questions, go there and ask, and we'll be how would you say that, communicating on this announcement on the website and also on our social media, so we make sure that you don't miss the interview. And that's I'm excited for that. That's going to be fun.
That will definitely be fun. Last thing, we talked about the Mbappe auction. It's closing in about 24 hours, 23 hours, 58 minutes. It's currently at 18 ETH. Where do you think it ends?
So my guess is 75.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so. Vinicius ended around like 70, right? And so I guess it's slightly better card than Vinicius for some reasons. And so that's why I'm not saying, well, 75 would be pretty good. So but the unique market it's not correlated with the rest of us. And you only need 2 bidders to actually like go very high.
I think that's one of the things people always kind of bypass when it comes to these auctions, when they get big and they're like, well, it's only 2 people. And it's like, well, that's literally how auctions work. And so
and as AJ says, this is not an indicator or not. Like it could go for 100. I don't feel it's a good indicator. That's not going to improve the rare market or the super rare or the limited market. It just says that some rich people have money to spend and they're like, oh, that card is fine. And I would get that, please.
I think that's what we saw with the first Erling Haaland auction, that it was just, it wasn't really that looked like a pretty significant outlier. But I feel like if there's going to be an outlier, it should be an Mbappe unique. This is the third one, right?
The Mbappe, yeah, the third one. And you see that the Haaland card has switched hands because Zima is exiting the platform, obviously. And so he bought the card 220 ETH and sold it like 76 ETH, I think. Or 79, I don't remember exactly.
265 ETH.
265, wow. I mean, I would be like very interested in like understanding why Zima is exiting so fast and is willing to take such a beating. That would be very interesting to have his take on that. I mean, like seriously, I would enjoy like if someone knows how to reach the guy, and if he wants to come on the podcast or something explaining the reasoning behind that, I would be very interested to learn about that, because I feel like maybe I'm the fool. I probably am, but I feel like it's not the right market to actually be exiting from. But I guess in 2 weeks or 3 months, I'm going to say, yeah, that was a great market to be exiting in. So yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the first one went for 116, and the second one went for 153. That's Mbappe. So.
Yeah, get Phils to ask. But you know, he has him on Discord, so I can ask Phils.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. If you guys could please hit the like button on the video, that's always really helpful. Subscribe to the channel. You'll also you can also get notifications. So if you forget that the Mbappe auction is closing tomorrow, just hit the little bell on the video, and then Andy and Quinny will be able to walk you through the end and give us all of the takes of whether it's whether our limited card prices are going to skyrocket or not because a random Mbappe unique gets sold. So join for that.
Should we address the last comment?
Sure. Yeah. Just as we were. Jumpshoot said we did not talk about the pause on credit card purchases for secondary market. I think it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very interesting news, to be honest. And I think like credit card fraud has been a subject for a while on the platform. I think it's good that they take action against that. Yeah, I don't think they would do that if the credit card volume was that big. And I think that's a driver. I think that the volume is not that important. And so that's why. And also you have other options to actually like fill out your wallet with ETH to actually buy a card. So I don't think that's a minor, that's a big change. And I don't think that will have a big impact, especially when you can use your credit card to actually pay for cards on auction. So, I mean, at least what we can say is that's good to fight against credit card fraud.
Yeah, clearly the fraud was outweighing the benefit. And so they had to do it.
But yeah, on that, Jumpshoot says like it makes P2P sales so much difficult. I mean, time will tell. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm not. But I feel like they probably took this decision because they knew that it would have like not a great impact on that. But maybe you're right, and maybe they'll find a better solution for that if there's a wide impact on P2P sales.
I mean, they kind of indicated that they're working on a solution. So it's not like they don't want the option to be there. It's just they need to find a better option. That's all.
And yeah, and what I thought interesting in that the text that explaining why they would do that is that they would need that to open bank accounts in other countries, and I think that's very interesting. The very interesting thing to mention.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. What do you think about a fiat wallet? Yeah,
I mean, don't get excited about that. We are not going to see that in 2023. I can tell you that.
Stuff's not easy.
No, it's so difficult, and it's so much changes if you want to do that. But they would do that with also ETH wallet. But like if they do that in 2023, I'd be really impressed.
Yeah. Jumpshoot, thank you for that last question. We are going to go now. But like I said, join if you speak French or you just want to, Quinny, on the outro, Quinny, just start over. You'll welcome, but start over. Go back. So yeah, French and English streams tomorrow, French on Twitch, English on YouTube for the Mbappe auction. I'll be back Friday with rabbit hunting, maybe with a guest. We'll see. I'm kind of giving up on the rabbit hunting because my lineups have been so bad and it's an international break. And then Maxime and I will be back on Monday to talk about the interview with Nicola. So thank you to everybody, and we'll see you around.